Hello and welcome to Lunch and Learn Wednesdays with Venture Portland. My name is Jacob Falkenberg, and I am the Communications Director here at Venture Portland. And today we're going to be talking about different options for ways you can beautify and clean up your business districts or neighborhoods or whatever you're interested in keeping clean. Especially with the critical holiday season coming up, we want those areas to be most inviting as possible. I will be recording this session for our YouTube channel, and we're going to kick it off in just a moment here. But first, why don't we do a round of introductions? So let's start with the person directly to my left, Leah, and then why don't you pass it on to the next person?
My name's Leah Kohlenberg. I'm the new Williams Vancouver Business Association district manager. And Pete, I think you guys actually did something in our district last August 10th. And in fact, I might have even seen you setting up. So let's do it again. Frank.
You want to introduce everybody else first? How do you want this to work?
Oh, yeah. Why don't we leave our presenters to the end? Let's go over to Blessed.
Hi there, I'm Blessed. I am the CII director for Venture Portland, meaning that I help all the district managers manage their districts. Let's go to Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Medor. I'm the district organizer for the Lloyd and the Beaumont districts. Let's see. How about Laura?
Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Martinez. I am the district manager for the Midway Business Association.
And then why don't we go to Brianna?
Hi, everyone. I'm Brianna. I'm the director of programs for Central Eastside Together and the Central Eastside Industrial Council.
Okay. And on to Lisa.
I'm Lisa Grotto, and I appreciate you letting me join. I'm with the Albany Downtown Association, and we started partnering a little bit back during COVID.
Thanks for being here. And Elisa.
Hi, everyone. Sorry to be off camera. Elisa Kajikawa. I am the J District Manager.
Thanks for being here. And Jermaine, you there?
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Jermaine. I am the Lens District Manager for Lens Grown Business Association.
Good to see you, Jermaine. Looks like we just had someone else from Central Eastside here, but they just dropped out. So hopefully they can get connected. But otherwise, we will go ahead and get started. So our first presenter is Frank Mosco from Adopt One Block. And some of you might remember we had Frank on back in 2021 when Adopt One Block was kind of just getting kicked off. So we're curious to learn about it, to hear how it's changed and grown and how people can get involved. So welcome, Frank.
Thank you, and welcome everybody. Thank you for participating. I know that I was allocated 15 to 20 minutes. I will be able to do this in less than half that time and preserve everybody's sanity and lunchtime calendar. Adopt One Block was founded on a couple of basic themes. One is we wanted to make it as easy as possible for as many people as possible to do a good deed. And what that meant to us was that you didn't have to schedule to volunteer. You don't have to worry about the supplies to volunteer. You can be a great land steward right out your front door of either your business or your residence. Clean up when and how you want with cleanup supplies and the cleanup services that we make sure you have for free. Since we launched this about 3.5 years ago, we now have over 9,300 volunteers. We have 11,400 blocks adopted. And the most amazing statistic is we have fulfilled 10,870 supply orders, where we have shipped free supplies to over 10,000 people willing to walk around to their individual block or their business block and clean up. And we are obviously very proud of that. So, where do we fit into this whole ecosystem? First of all, one of the questions we get asked a lot is, okay, so how are you different than Solve? Because Solve has been around forever. And the answer is that Solve is world-class at events. They are great. Nobody actually in the country, to my knowledge, does as good of a job at organizing cleanup events across a whole state like Solve does. But one of the things that you notice when you walk around a lot of the communities is that despite all of the best efforts of Solve and other great organizations, you could walk around and it was still pretty yucky in a lot of places. And what we realized is that there's a big difference between get it clean and keep it clean. And what we were trying to figure out is not how we become another Solve, but how we change the narrative so that we're not only focused on getting a place clean, but how we keep it clean daily, weekly. How we move forward from just doing events to what happens in between the events, and how do we make sure that people can get out and clean the spaces that they love the most without having to have us or any organization involved. They can just do it on their own time, on their own schedule, when it works for them. And the other thing that we recognized is that while we all want a beautiful community, and we all care about Portland or Vancouver or Albany, and we want the whole community to be clean. The bottom line is the blocks we care about the most are typically the block where we live and where we work. And so what we wanted to do was make it easy, make it super easy for people to do what they want, when they want, contribute in a way that makes the most sense for them on their own time, on their own schedule, without having to have any engagement, candidly, by anybody. With that in mind, we have two programs. We have our core program, which is Adopt One Block, and that's the easy on-ramp for individuals. And as a result of that, we have over 9,300 people across Oregon and Washington. And yes, we are live in all of Oregon and we are live in all of Washington, committed to cleaning up one or more square blocks on a regular and frequent basis. They get all the tools that they need from us for free, and they get services for trash removal for free. The other thing that we've done recently is created an easy on-ramp for businesses. Admittedly, right now, this is just in the Portland area, but we are co-founders of We Believe in Portland. And I don't know, how many of you are familiar with We Believe in Portland by a show of hands? Grand total of 3. So We Believe in Portland is the easy on-ramp for companies to be involved. We had an event this spring. We're having another event on September 13th. We had 1,000 people at Pioneer Square representing 170 companies. What's cool about what we did for We Believe in Portland is that it's not just an event. Each one of those 170 companies, now have their own cleanup kits, and B, have committed to walking around and cleaning up around their business block on a regular basis. And so what we are trying to do is seed the notion of being more than an event, that it is a continuous cadence of regular cleanup, which is what not only gets a place clean, but keeps a place clean. We have also have programs for business associations and other affinity groups where they can get a larger quantity of supplies that they have at their facility so that they can self-organize, clean up when and how they want, do it on their own time, on their own schedule, that one person or 3 people or 10 people can say, you know what, this afternoon is going to be great. It's going to be 75. Let me just reach out to a few people, see if we can clean up a certain number of blocks. We've got all the supplies. We've got the connections to get the trash that we have collected picked up for free, and that they don't have to schedule through us, through any other organization, through any jurisdiction. They can just do it because they want to, and it works for them. So that gives you a nutshell summary of who we are, what we provide to the community, with the overarching theme of we love our volunteers, and we want to do anything and everything we can to make it as easy as possible for them to do a good deed.
Thanks so much, Frank. Yeah, it's a wonderful program, a great way for people to take ownership of their neighborhoods and business districts, and you make it as easy as possible by providing the supplies and the trash pickup. I wonder if you could just talk a minute about the website. Is there a place where people can figure
Sure.
out if their block's already taken, or if they are interested in a specific block, signing up for that?
So you go to adoptoneblock.org, and when you hit the sign up button, it has you put in your address. And when you put in your address, your block pops up highlighted in yellow. And so it's very, very specific so that you can see your block, you can see your block as it relates to your neighborhood. And we have 3 symbols. We have a heart in each block. If the heart is open, it means there are 2 spots available for a block ambassador to adopt that block. If the block is half red and half empty, it means there's 1 spot available to adopt that block. If both sides of the heart are red, then that means there's already 2 block ambassadors for that particular block. Usually, in the core kind of tied in Portland area, there's a lot of blocks that have been adopted by 1 person, but could certainly use a second volunteer. And usually most blocks are available for a second volunteer. If they're not, there's neighboring blocks that you get to see on the map that really shows you the block adoptions in your neighborhood, and you can scroll in and out like you do in any mapping application to really be able to see the block adoptions in your neighborhood, in your community, and see the impact of our program.
That's awesome. I think it's a really easy way for a group of people to organize a way to do ongoing cleanup and maintenance in their areas. So definitely check that out. I'll be sending out an email with the link to the website and some other information as well. But this is a great option for people who are looking for ways to do ongoing cleanup of a specific area. Thanks, Frank. We'll come back to Frank in just a moment. If you have any questions for Frank, feel free to drop those in the chat, and we'll get to those at the end. But now I want to move on to Peter Brewers from Solve, and he's going to talk a little bit about ways to do larger scale cleanup events and the work that Solve does to help people do that. So welcome, Peter.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to be here. So some familiar names have already popped up. I think Leslie Lopez was on here for just a second, but Solve has done events with the CEIC, Central East Side, before. Also, let's see, Williams, Vancouver area, there's regular cleanups at Vendetta, the bar there, and we are, Solve doing big events, and like Frank said, forever being 1969, 1 year predating Earth Day is how long Solve's been around. Kind of got started. The bread and butter of the events was beach cleanups, and we still do that. But I would say a majority of our events currently are neighborhood litter pickups. And yeah, we are doing events, Solve staff-led events, multiple ones every week. But I think that a lot of the events, actually, I should say a vast majority of the events that we host are ones that community leaders are ones that step up and lead the events. And what Solve does is provide kind of a step-by-step process for people to create larger events. You know, they'll look on our event calendar, wonder why there's nothing happening in their area, but just kind of creating an easy on-ramp to creating a large-scale events in those areas. So it's not just business districts, neighborhood associations, and just people who are passionate and dedicated individuals without organizational ties who just want to see the good work done. And yeah, so events, you know, scale from any size, 5, 10 people, up to 40 people. I don't recommend people try to manage a 40-person event on their own, but it's been done before and highly successfully. And yeah, from start to finish, Solve's there to help support. I have a few slides I'd like to share with everyone just to give people kind of a visual representation. If you don't mind, go ahead and do that right here. All right, can everyone see? Can I just get a thumbs up real quick? Make sure everyone's seeing what I'm seeing. Wonderful. Okay, let's go ahead and start the slideshow. Okay, so what Solve generally does, not just doing the work for litter cleanups, beach cleanups, but we're also doing a lot of invasive species removal and habitat restoration events, kind of anything which is in an immediate impact, environmental service events. I know that we're all business district associated people here. So a lot of the work that we would be doing with your organization would be group litter cleanups. And that's what we've been doing for a long, long time. We have a lot of experience doing it and providing support for people to do it on their own. So our Solve staff leads lots of events in and around Portland, most of them being Multnomah, Clackamas, Washington counties. This is what our event calendar looks like. And each one of those pins represents not just an event, but a cluster of events. If you squint real closely, you'll see 45 upcoming events in the Portland area alone on the calendar. And I would recommend that you just visit our website and see what local events we have coming up in terms of if there is a local event nearby, to if there's an event worth traveling for that you might want to get associated with. But I think that what I would love to talk about, not just the Solve staff-led events, but the support that we provide community members. And that support is everything you need. Solve's really great about implementing and not just, providing the service, but kind of helping from start to finish. If you want a location recommendation of where to start, kind of best practices for volunteer management, how to keep people from crowding an event table, how to lead a successful event, make sure that everyone feels not just that, they came out to support an event, but they feel a connection to the community and they feel kind of the gratitude for being there at that space. In addition to, of course, securing permits where there's property permission that needs to happen. When you start at, let's say, instead of a company parking lot that one of you is associated with, at a nearby park or a nearby bike trail, is it Parks and Rec property? Is it ODOT property? Is it city property? Securing the appropriate permits is something that our connections have provided us easy access to. And also our supplies. We have thousands of trash grabbers, vests, gloves, trash bags, and additional supplies that aid with larger scale trash pickup events and free disposal as well. In addition to that, we have small funds for Metro grants, which can be used for a variety of things. Additional supplies, for example, canopies or tables, things that we might not have readily available to hand out. But these are all things that we can assist in creating successful events. Yeah, and so volunteering, it's really great to bring the community to your area instead of as in addition to, of course, supporting and making the area and the environment and the litter go away and look better. It's easy for people to get involved with Solve. Our volunteer network is pretty huge because we've been around for so long. We have anywhere between 20 and I'd say 25,000 active volunteers all across Oregon and Southern Washington. And it's really great because of the easy access. A lot of people are looking kind of for an environmental service project, but they don't know how to get started. So Solve creates these easy events for people to join. There's no experience necessary for people just to volunteer. There's a brief training for people, learning how to navigate our website and how to give a proper safety speech to be an event leader. But it's really about connecting community members with, other people who are passionate about the environment, want to give back, also want to see their local areas enhanced and have like vibrancy restored. And like Frank mentioned, there's like a lot of little bits of litter that like accumulate in spots. And it's very important for, people to take individual accountability for those areas, but also like finding those other individuals is really important. And Solve events are a great way with that. We also connect people who are looking to like earn volunteer hours, gain experience in doing volunteer projects, and just really connecting to community, businesses, people who live locally, or people who travel to events. It's not just about people who are in an immediate area, but people look at our event calendar, will travel from different cities just to find a project that they're excited about. And it's really good to connect with businesses too, because you can provide a little bit extra at events, maybe a space for people to stay and socialize, get a bite to eat or grab a drink before or after an event, and maybe hand out a little bit of an item, for free to thank people for their time, whether it's something small like a sticker or, something larger. It's a great way to bring people to your area and to your business districts. So a little bit of a recap for our numbers from 2023 about the amount of active volunteers, including youth volunteers, and the events that we had. The amount of pounds and trash, it's 700,000 pounds, and that's a huge amount. And we love the amount of weight, but it's really the impact that we have in the amount of events that we're the most proud of, and the variety of events that we're able to host, and not just help host, but support community members to host as well. I'm going to skip this one, just understanding the impact, just to show some pictures of the type of events that we've done before, including areas that are high frequency, like dumping spots off the side of highways, to more community-based events where they involve a lot of youth volunteers and just a lot of people, anywhere from, 5 people to 20 people. It doesn't really matter how many people you get at events. It's just kind of a group together and kind of what you can accomplish as that group. And we do a lot of events downtown and with other corporate sponsors as well, where Solve will come and like lead a corporate group for an event. And we do a lot of events downtown Portland, but it's not just in Portland area, like I said, all across Portland or Oregon and Southern Washington. But we are based out of Portland. We are by where the Timbers play at Providence Park. And we have our supply library. One of them is based here. And we have supply hubs kind of spread out over the coast, Central Oregon as well, and other spots for people to kind of use like a lending library, the way you would use your local community tool library, except ours is open, much more available hours for you to drop by. And when you order supplies, a huge list of everything that's available. All right. Before the call, talking about big push, big environmental days, when are things the busiest for us? And I wanted to talk about upcoming events. Central Eastside, for example, is helping us lead one on the 21st, this week anyway, for the Beach and Riverside cleanup. But we have a lot happening, not just in this time frame, but all over Oregon at all times of week. Earth Day is usually our busiest time of year, but traditionally when we work with, I'm going to unshare my screen. We work with neighborhood associations and business associations to try to create reoccurring events. The Northwest District Association, for example, is one of those that leads monthly events on Sundays. Other people do reoccurring events for about 6 months of the year, take a break during the rainy season and come back. But creating reoccurring events is something that's very easy to do. You only need to really work with Solve staff to create the events once, and then you just kind of hit the repeat date. You have access to kind of a special part of the website as an event leader, where you're able to create events, order supplies, make sure that there's other things like permitting that are taken care of, but really just kind of creating a reoccurring impact in areas where you do business and support other businesses, bringing people to you and being able to use our events as a way to kind of, just talk and reach out to other people. I also saw in a comment something about Sharps as well. Yeah, providing Sharps, very important for people who are event leaders. They get safety training, which includes Sharps training. In general, we hand out in our supplies Sharps boxes as well. And for people who are looking to obtain Sharps boxes, give it a quick Google. Multnomah County Health has some really good resources, as well as Portland Metro, on where to dispose of boxes within the city of Portland. There's drop boxes, and Metro Hazardous Waste Supply as well. We'll take them. That's my quick pitch. Solve is worked with a lot of people, business associations, and we're continuing really looking forward to making new connections and kind of looking for people to either within your associations kind of become those event leaders, or Solve going out there and leading those events kind of for you to get you started and show you how it works and how we get stuff done. But really, it's the support. And also, Frank, I wanted to give a shout out to you at Adopt One Block. We actually met once upon a time when I was leading a community group called D-Trash Portland. 2021, maybe end of 2020, early in the middle of COVID, just people looking to give back in a way where we could stay outside and spread out. And I think that that's where kind of the trash pickup thing kind of presented as a way that we could still do the work while staying safe. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to you, Frank, as well.
Thanks so much, Peter. I mean, the work that Solve is doing is just unmatched. It's really impressive, the amount of events happening and the way it all runs so smoothly. It's really incredible. And we're really lucky to have Solve as a resource here in the city and in the state. I was wondering if anybody has any experience either volunteering for a Solve cleanup or organizing a Solve cleanup, if they wanted to talk about their experience. I know that you mentioned there's one in the Central East Side coming up, and there was one just in Williams that I think Leah was asking about. How did that go? I guess Leah was asking Peter that. Yeah. Peter, do you have any idea of how successful that one might have been?
Yeah, so it's this community leader, Kieran at Vendetta, who does regular community cleanups from their location on Williams. And Kieran got started doing it around Earth Day this year, and I think he just did his 5th one as a regular community cleanup event. And it's really odd. Yeah, Williams and Vancouver is this area where you ride your bike or drive past and you don't think that there's a lot of trash, but there's this kind of, because there's so many restaurants and coffee places where you can pick up food, but it's just kind of become a spot where maybe some single-use disposable trash items get discarded, and so it's a really good spot for a cleanup like that. And they do a great job there, and they've kind of picked up a lot of trash. Yeah, they're not really, I don't think the leader is attached to the business association, but is a business within the association that has been doing some great work. And Brianna, I believe you're a rep from CEIC. Did you go to the recent DPAVE event? DPAVE, another great local nonprofit that gets rid of parking lots and turns them into something much more useful, connected with CEIC, and they use Solve to help provide supplies and connect with volunteers for a simultaneous cleanup for this block party. Were you at that one, or did you? Yeah,
I was. Leslie is the one who's worked with you, obviously, and spearheaded. She just had to take off to another appointment. But yes, I was both at the Earth Day one that we hosted, which I think we had over 100 people sign up for that one. And then at the DPAVE one more recently, I even brought my 8-year-old to the DPAVE one with a few instructions, but we had fun with the picker-uppers. So yeah, what's been really nice working with Solve, I mean, just from really a volunteer perspective, is that you really do provide everything we need to get it done, which it sounds like Adopt a Block does as well. So it's been, I think, a low bar from our end to make these events happen, because you do so much on your end and provide all, even just, the waivers, materials, everything, the pickup. It's just been amazing, I think, to be able to do this and reinstate these, because I think we had done these previously and then kind of COVID and staff changes brought it to a halt. So it's been really nice to reboot these, and we've had a great response from the community too, great turnout. So specifically for our business district, it's been really nice, because similar to the We Believe event, we've had a lot of businesses coming with their staff teams, which has been another cool dynamic. So yeah.
It's fantastic. Thanks.
Yeah, that sounds great. 100 volunteers. That's incredible. It's great to see so many people come out, and it's great to have access to Solve's kind of network of volunteers. So if you do decide to organize a cleanup, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, that will go up on the Solve website and anybody can sign up. It doesn't have to be somebody from that specific area, but people can kind of pick and choose if they want to travel to areas that they're interested in supporting and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so our calendar, www.solveoregon.org. has, you know, a calendar of all these events where people can go to. A lot of times people will look at an event, they will click sign up. All you have to do to sign up, you create an Solve account, name, email address, that's it. Some people go, you know what, I don't want to do that, and they'll just show up anyway. So we do have a lot of people who pre-register, people who just show up, but we don't turn anyone away. But people do travel to these events. It's not just local community. We do outreach directly to. The reason that we ask people to kind of create an account is so we can let people know when there are events in their local area. So we try to do direct outreach to people where they live and work. But a lot of times people will just, you know, they'll travel 45 minutes to an event, you know, across town if they so choose. Yeah, it's people come from everywhere. So I'm always surprised to hear how people hear of events, why people choose events, but it's really the overarching theme is people just want to do the work. They feel like it needs to be done and they're looking for an opportunity, however the opportunity is, to get it done. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was wondering, Peter, if you had any, speaking of just volunteers, any tips for recruiting volunteers? So, if you're organizing an event, what works best? Time of year or time of day or specific areas? Or how do you make sure that you're creating an event that people are going to want to participate in?
Yeah, so the best events, people will come to typically any type of event, but because we have a lot of events on our calendar, having a title or a location or an activity that really grabs people attention. And a lot of the ones that we feel are ones that grab people's attentions are ones where it's like, okay, I know the neighborhood or I know that business. For example, Binary Brewery down in Beaverton hosts regular events, and just the name a brewery, someone goes, oh, I'd love to pick up trash and hang out at a brewery. Mayfly Tap Room, for instance, in North Portland, Vendetta, which I mentioned earlier. Just adding the name of a local business is something that's really attractive for people who might not know, Beaumont, for example, off the top of their heads. Like, which neighborhood is that again? But they might know, like, what's the Italian restaurant? Alfini's? Or Pip's Donuts.
Amalfi's.
Amalfi's, or they might know Pip's Donuts, like that. And you just really like attach them and root them in their mind of a location, a business or an activity. Getting volunteers and then each event also has a title, a picture that you attach, an event description, and really using that as a way to like promote like what makes this event special is very great. Talk about, not just what volunteers are doing during the actual service activity, but what they can do after, whether it's an opportunity for people have been really looking for opportunities to meet new people and be social, and it just, whatever the kind of connection they're looking for, these volunteers come to our events looking for that kind of connection. But I would say, like, yeah, use the picture, make it a title interesting, use the event description, but also have an opportunity for people who just want to stay and talk after, have it that be at a good space. Sometimes we try not to host events that are just like on a sidewalk in front of a place because there's no real space to congregate after or even before. So people kind of just shrug their shoulders when the event's over and kind of head home. But we've kind of learned from that and given people really the opportunity to talk to each other. So those are the events that really get the most out, but also like we lead with gratitude all the time. When we do our trainings for new event leaders, we have to remind people, like, really like thank people for coming out, like let people know that this work is appreciated. It isn't just like, it's good for everyone. And, we really need to thank people for their time.
That's a great tip. I think, yeah, I think for a lot of people, it is a social thing. They want to meet other people who are like-minded, who are also interested in this kind of work. So, yeah, having it at a space, starting and ending at a space where they can have an opportunity to talk to each other and celebrate their good work is a great idea. Awesome. And Frank, I saw you dropped something into the chat about a big event coming up on September 13th. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. That is our business engagement on-ramp. One of the things that we really wanted to do is find the best way for businesses to really engage both as a business and with their employees in this whole notion of cleaning up. And we wanted to you know, as Peter talked about, make it social, make it connective from a community standpoint, but also seed this notion that it's not just an event, it's an activation where we are, each of the companies has their own cleanup kits. And as part of their participation, they are committed to cleaning up around their business block the next week, the week after that, the week after that. In between all of the events that are going on, how do we make our community sustainably cleaner, not just cleaner for one afternoon a month? In April, we had 170 companies, about 1,000 people. Pioneer Square was the launch point. We're doing that again on September 13th. We've got some surprises for that. And there's just a lot of energy around the business community coming together. You know, hundreds of businesses coming together at the same time to show their passion for and their belief in the community, and wanting to make Portland what we all know it can and should be. So September 13th, you can check it out. I put it in the chat, is webelieveinportland.com. And it's a pretty easy on-ramp to get businesses engaged and involved in a highly scalable company employee community event.
That sounds wonderful. What is there a deadline if a business wanted to participate in that event?
If you want to participate and get your free supplies in time, probably no later than next Tuesday, because we're going to be we're shipping out supplies to all of the companies. We will have some extra supplies at Pioneer Square. You can sign up at the last minute. As Peter said, sometimes people sign up, sometimes people don't sign up, but if the weather is good, they're going to show up. You know, I guarantee that if it's 75 to 80 degrees outside, we'll have a few more people than if it's 55 and raining. But the other cool thing about this is that for the We Believe in Portland event, the good people at Legit Script are hosting an after party for the people who are doing it. Legit Script is on the 27th floor of Big Pink, so 3 floors below Portland City Grill. And it's a great opportunity for community building within the business community after we have done this event together. And if you haven't seen that space, it's a gorgeous space. Legit Script, there's going to be great hosts. And we want to come together to not only celebrate the work that we're doing, saying thank you to everybody that's taking time out of their day to do this, but also kind of rally around this whole notion that, yes, we do believe in Portland. Despite the naysayers, there is great passion around the city, that the city is on an uptick. We believe in the community, and we're going to do our part plus a little bit extra to make it what we all want it to be. And so that's part of the event on September 13th.
Sounds very cool. Sounds like a great event to get involved with. So we'll definitely share that info in our follow-up email as well. And Frank, while we've got you, there was a question from Lisa about youth volunteers. Do you have an outreach plan to bring in youth volunteers at this time, or are you still working mainly with older folks?
So actually the coolest thing that is going on from my standpoint is we get pictures from our volunteers. I'm sure Peter does as well. And the coolest thing is to see parents and child, aunt or uncle and niece or nephew, grandmother, grandchild, 3 generations coming together to walk around their block and clean it up. And we not only get the pictures, but we get the stories. And the stories are great because what the kid is starting to ask is, where did this come from? How did this get here? Why is this okay? The The other thing that we provide, which is a huge hit, and you can actually order it on our website, is we have child-sized grabbers. And having the kids turn this into a game and battling to see who picks up the most trash with those child-sized grabbers, it is a great way to engage the next generation in being great land stewards. You don't have to go to an event. You don't have to get in the car. You can take your 4-year-old out with their child-sized grabber and educate them around their own block and becoming great land stewards. And that's one of the things that we do that actually gives the people affiliated with Adopt One Block the greatest satisfaction, is the next generation, getting them young, getting them trained, and actually gamifying it and making it fun for them to go out and do that.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about our youth engagement. I totally agree with Frank. Like first of all, just getting youth volunteers out for environmental service projects in general is important. Getting that like switch flipped in their mind that this is important is totally something you need to have at a young person, like when you're a child. Otherwise, you'll just grow up not considering it important. And we're all trying to be a force for good in the world here. Everyone who's on this call is doing great work. But really kind of teaching and using Adopt One Block or Solve as kind of a route to teach youth responsibility when it comes to environment, protecting the environment, how to not dispose of trash, super important. So Solve does a lot of work reaching out directly to youth organizations or schools to try to bring them out to existing events. A lot of times schools want to create their own private events too. Solve also does that in general. If people want to have an event that's just their organization, that's fine as well. We create the event because the work is important. But for bringing youth out to public events, we advertise our events to schools, local youth organizations, Kiwanis clubs, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, National Honor Society. The age limit for bringing kids to events, for the most part, every event is family friendly if they have an attentive adult with them. We kind of want them to be 7 or older, just in terms of, that's a good age for kids to start listening a little bit harder to their adults. You can attend a Solve event on your own if you're 13 or older, and you can create your own account with our system when you're 13 and older as well. And we get a lot of middle school and high school students who are looking to fulfill service hours as part of their requirements for graduation. A lot of our outreach is really youth focused. I love what Frank said too about sharing pictures. Parents do bring their kids out to these events too. A lot of the outreach that we do is just kind of telling people it's family friendly and trying to get them to bring their family and their, immediate network to events, in addition to doing outreach towards youth organizations. But yeah, it's all about creating the events that, the work is accessible and easy for everyone to accomplish. There are certain events. I mean, one of the pictures that I showed was a pretty intense before and after. We will advertise within the event description. And if you were to create your own event in those particular areas, although 95% of our events are family friendly, the ones that are not, we do say 18 and older. There's a risk that, this is not an event that is suitable for children. So we are conscious of that. And we also want to create events that are as accessible to everyone as possible. But also we don't want to shy away from the really hard work that needs to be done as well. Although in Portland, things have, I would say, improved on that front. I would say a lot more during COVID and lockdown, where government services were taking a big step back. Solve was trying to step up and kind of fulfill the gap that was led, especially with abandoned campsites and dumping grounds. We still do a little bit of that, but definitely less than we were doing 2 years ago.
That's great to hear, that so many young people are getting involved, and you're making it as accessible as possible for them to do so. So I love to hear that. I did want to make sure we answered Laura's question about PEMO. So the Portland Environmental Management Office does some similar work. Is there any overlap with either Adopt One Block or Solve and that program?
I've had a meeting with PMO before, and really there wasn't any direct overlap in the work that we were doing. They just kind of gave us like a keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great work. Yeah, I mean, in general, the city of Portland, with the work that they're doing in general for, city and trash pickup downtown, there's the Clean Streets program. It's in the Central East Side a bit as well. And they're also doing larger trash days for people who are dumping stuff off into larger dumpsters. But what Adopt One Block and what Solve are doing is kind of the everything in between. So there's not a large amount of overlap between City of Portland and trash pickup services and what our organizations are doing. That's my opinion anyway.
Laura,
Yeah,
for those,
I would,
sorry, go.
yeah, I'd like to just, I mean, what's interesting is that we have city, we have county, we have metro, we have this multi-layered complexity of what do I do if I find X? What do I do if I see Y? And in a lot of jurisdictions, there is a Department of Sanitation. There is one central theme or place you can go where anybody out there in the community can go to get their questions answered. Somehow, some way, we have made that ridiculously difficult for the average person on the street to be able to go out, do a good deed, they find something and they don't know what the heck to do with it. One of the things that we do through our FAQs and through having a full-time community engagement manager, the biggest thing that we do for the people who are self-directed, who are not, they're just walking around their block, they're just walking around their neighborhood, wanting to get out, wanting to do good. One of the biggest services that we provide them is helping them connect to the right resource, because we know where those right resources are. They don't want to spend 3 hours trying to figure it out. Is this a city thing? Is this a county thing? Is this a metro thing? What is this? And so whether it is PMO or Metro RID or an ODOT issue or a PBOT issue or whoever's, one of the biggest resources that we provide is, hey, you send us a question about something you see in your neighborhood. We're getting right back to you with the perfect link to the right jurisdiction and to the right form to be able to make sure that that issue gets addressed and remediated quickly. And so I would say that it's really a question beyond PMO. It's really a question of making sure that all the people who are doing the work get quickly and efficiently connected to the best resource in their community that can remediate and address that problem.
That's a great point, Frank. Yeah, it can be overwhelming to try and figure out what to do with certain things because there are so many different bureaus and organizations involved with very specific tasks of cleanup. So yeah, I think it's great to provide people with resources to help them figure that out, because at the moment there's not an easy one place to go for that sort of thing.
For example, in Seattle, they have Find It, Fix It. Not that it's perfect, but they have one resource. And you go on Find It, Fix It in Seattle, and you have a very easy way of accessing all of the resources that you really need as an involved community member to address a certain challenge. We're Swiss cheese in comparison to that. And so I think it's just incumbent upon the nonprofit world, again, to make it as easy as possible for the people who are doing the good work in their community.
Well said. Great. Well, we've got just a couple minutes left. Are there any other questions for Peter or Frank about their organizations and the work that they're doing? Or does anybody want to share any experiences that they've had doing cleanups in their districts? Feel free to chime in. Otherwise, we will go ahead and wrap it up for the day. I will be sending a follow-up email with some more resources. So let's keep the conversation going. There's still a couple good months of weather left, so it's the perfect time to organize a cleanup in your area, get everything looking great for that holiday season coming up. So definitely start thinking about that now, talking with your boards about working with either of these organizations to make your areas clean and inviting for everyone. And I want to thank Peter and Frank for taking the time out of their busy schedules to speak with us today. I really appreciate all the information that you provided, and hopefully we can make some connections with some of the businesses and business districts that haven't used the services quite yet. So hopefully we'll be able to make some connections there. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. I put my email in the chat. If anyone wants to send me a direct question as well, please feel free to do so. Looking forward to working with you all soon, hopefully.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.